Hi everyone, welcome to yet another Friday Drum Talk. Today I decided we would look at tuning bass drums and getting that sort of big, round, beautiful tone, especially with a bit of bloom in the sound. I'm very old school in the way I approach drums, way I tune drums, especially, well, all drums, but bass drums. I never use a microphone hole in the front of my bass drum. I often use non-dampening heads on my bass drums. You'll find on all my bass drums, all I use for dampening is a little strip of felt on the front and back of the bass drum, and the rest of my drum kit has no dampening whatsoever. On this particular bass drum, this is a Gretsch Brooklyn 18 by 14. I have on the front head is a Remo Ambassador, and on the back I have a Remo Emperor. So very standard old school sort of heads. And we're going to look at tuning this up. I have loosened off the front head, but the back head I haven't, but it's the same process for front and back. My beta side head, I tend to tune up mainly for a certain response I get off my bass drum beta. I like to have a little bit of spring in it. I don't like my bass drum, my beta or batter side head to be really squishy. I don't like that. Once again too, most of my bass drum work I don't bury the beaters into my bass drums. I hit and pull off. So that in itself is very old school. So anyway, or a good golden rule to think about, the back head, I normally tune it up so I get the tension that feels good with my bass drum beater. And the front head, I tune for tone. A good golden rule really is the front head is the one that really gives you a lot of the tone. And if you tune the front head really loose, you'll get more punch in your bass drum. If you tune it up higher, the higher you start bringing up that front head, you'll start to experience more tone in your bass drum, and you will also get probably more bloom, if you know what I mean by bloom. If not, when you hit the bass drum, you get that sort of lasting woo sort of sound. That's what I call bass drum blooming. So for me, I like probably more tone than that soft punch sound, and I like to get a little bit of bloom on the end of the actual beat. So hearing the beat, the tone, and then woof, a little bloom after it. That's my perfect sounding bass drum for me. So anyway, this batter side head is tuned. It's probably got, I would say, about between a half to a full turn all the way around on the tuning keys. So it's got a lot of give still left in it. There's no wrinkling or anything like that. It's beyond that. And so that's basically that. Now, the front head, I've tuned it all the way off, taken it all off. And what we're going to do first off is hand tighten down all of the tuning keys to get a starting point. So I'll just start doing that as we speak. So I've got it all down to hand tightness, and all I'm going to do now is bring up about a half a turn on each. I like using two keys. It just makes it easier, I think, anyway. So we're just taking them up about a half a turn each. And you know, that's probably going to be very close to the sound we want, just a half a turn. Also, I'll point out, with my bass drum, which is I do a little bit different than from my tom-toms, I don't really worry if everything's even. It's such a big drum, and I've got a piece of felt running across the side of it as well. I tend not to worry too much about getting it perfectly note perfect at all the tuning keys. it doesn't really seem, or doesn't really make much of a difference if it's a little bit out. In fact, sometimes I think it actually sounds better. So that's close enough for me. And let's see what this sounds like. So I'm just going to put a bass drum beater on this, and I've just put it up against the microphone there. So I don't know if you can hear that or not, but once you hear the actual note and then you hear a bit of whoo after it. To me, that's like a bloom. The way it's sitting at the moment, I'm probably going to bring the front head down just a little bit, just to give it a bit more thickness. Okay, let's just have a listen to both sides. So the front head is a little bit higher than the batter head. So let's hear what it sounds like. Put this back on the beater and let's have a bit of a sound. Yeah, hear that bloom, it's got more boom. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. So the front head is just slightly bit higher than the batter head. And as I said earlier, the batter head's probably got about a half a turn. So the front head's probably got about 3/4 or between half and 3/4 turn on it. And to me, that sounds really, really good. So it's that easy. Don't get too caught up in getting every tuning key perfect pitch with each other. On bass drums, like I said, I really don't think it's that needed. When it comes to snare drums and tom-toms, yeah, I would be a little bit more fussy and get them as even as I possibly can. And when I tune my tom-toms especially, I tend to tune them roughly top and bottom the same. If anything at all, the bottom just a little bit lower, as opposed to the bass drum where if anything, a little bit higher. So I hope that's been helpful. It's really easy to tune a bass drum. I love smaller bass drums. 18s and 20s are the bass drum sizes I own. I do like a 24, but the 20-inch to me has just as much punch as a 22 or 24 even sometimes, depending on how you tune it. So on that note, thank you for watching this video and coming back for Friday Drum Talk. Please feel encouraged to subscribe to my channel and help an old drummer out. And please tell all your drum friends to visit my site as well. And if you have any questions or any topics you would like me to actually address on one of these videos, please leave a message below and I'll do my best to make a video on that at some time in the future. So on that note, people, be kind to yourself, be kind to other people, get out there and play drums and show your skill and gift to the world. On that note, bye!